is Monday, July 29th, 2019. It is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and so you know what time it is. It's time for a little bit of coin metal. And it was a very educational, get your ass kicked at Jiu-Jitsu Monday. We're working a little bit of negative quarter guard. It was almost a negative half guard, but mostly negative quarter guard, where they just got you by the ankle. And I really enjoyed it. It's kind of one of those positions that you end up in transition. Like if you happen to be on one side of your opponent and flip your other leg out to the outside, that you can get into this particular position. And we were working from there, and it was very educational. We did it to where we were doing the technique for several reps, and then we were doing a positional spar from the same position. My only problem with doing that is that 99% of the time I end up forgetting exactly what the move was, and so it's like it's supposed to give us an opportunity to work the move, and unfortunately I did not fully take advantage of it like that. But I did manage to work out something else, because the trick of it is that your opponent has you with lockdown on your ankle, and so the thing that you flip over for is to try and get out of the lockdown position. And I found that if I could get my opponent to squeeze up a little bit above my knee, that I could twist my leg and get into a dominant half guard position. And I didn't mind giving that up. I didn't mind going from one to the other, because it offered a few opportunities, and one of which I almost got a arm triangle. The only problem was that my opponent was really good about keeping that inside underhook, and I could not get my arm under his to fully enable that triangle. But I came really close once, but he wasn't shifted in the right position. He was down about, I would say, 6 to 8 inches too far for me to get the right pressure, and so I gave that up. But I ended up getting him in an arm bar, which was really cool, because we've been training the shit out of arm bars lately. And I don't know what it is, but like, that's one of those submissions that I kind of stayed away from a little bit, just because it does require a little bit of skill to get your leg up and over. And I was really conscientious about maybe bopping my opponent in the head or something like that. And so just recently, it seems like the last 2 weeks or so, I've really been pulling a lot of armbar maneuvers, and I've been getting a few arm bars too, so I can't complain. Obviously, the additional training on the armbar is showing in my game. But yeah, like I said, I ended up getting an armbar. I got an armbar today, and it was one of those where your shoulders are down, your opponent is standing, and you got it from the other side. And I kind of wish this was a video format, only so I could show stuff like that. But yeah, it was an interesting move, because I've never got anybody in an armbar from that position before, so it was pretty cool. I almost got him in a triangle, and he worked his way out, and so I just pressed his head down and put my leg up and over. And it was funny, because he even had his arm gripped, and even with his arm gripped, I managed to trap his one hand under his other hand that he was trying to save, by holding it tight enough to my chest, and getting that arm bar anyway. I mean, I didn't have to be too rough with him, and that's good, because I don't like being too rough with people, unless it's like one of those really excited energy kind of things where my opponent's really going for it. Then I don't mind being rough on them. But I was taking it moderately easy. I wasn't going like full force or anything like that. I was letting go of things that I didn't feel were effective a lot easier than I normally would have. Ordinarily, I probably would have held on to that failed arm triangle a little bit too long and ended up losing to a worse position. But I didn't spend a whole lot of time tapping, and it's all practice. So I know I rolled with one guy today that on any other given moment, if we were actually in competition or whatever, I wouldn't stand a chance. I know this. He knows this. There's no fantasy involved. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw down into some music. As far as what we're going to get into, I got like an open palette. I haven't really decided on much. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into our first dance. And of course, it's got to be Body Count. And I'm feeling it. The Ski Mask Way, First Dance, here on Coin Metal. And that was Death Clock with Awaken. Yeah, looks like Bitcoin took a little hit in the dick here. 94.24. Wow. Last time I checked, it was over 10,000. So I guess what goes up must come down. These things happen. It's not going to be a linear path straight on up to Nirvana, but I think we are on an upward trend. Anywho, this first article I got here is on CoinDesk. Judge punts on decision in NYAG case against Bitfinex and Tether. This is by Nicholas D. It's authored July 29th, 2019 at 1542 UTC, so yes, penis. A New York judge has punted on deciding whether crypto exchange Bitfinex and stablecoin issuer Tether need to turn over documents and otherwise comply with a state investigation. The New York Attorney General's Office, NYAG, is looking into allegations that Bitfinex covered up the loss of nearly $1 billion in client funds by borrowing from Tether's reserves. While the case has been ongoing since April, Monday's hearing primarily revolved around whether the NYAG had the authority to conduct its investigation. On Monday, the New York Supreme Court Judge Joel M. Cohen said he needed more time to make a final decision on whether to dismiss the NYAG's case entirely or rule the other way and reject Bitfinex and Tether's motion to dismiss. As such, a preliminary injunction he filed in May will be extended, probably for 90 days. I will extend the injunction. If I dismiss the case, then obviously the injunction goes with it. If I don't dismiss the case, the injunction will be extended, Cohen said, adding, quote, The idea is to keep things where they are until the decision of this motion, so the decision is to extend the stay and extend the injunction. The ruling means Bitfinex and Tether can continue operating their businesses as normal, but Tether still cannot lend any more funds to Bitfinex. The case to date. Stepping back, the NYAG's office claims that Bitfinex covered up the loss of $850 million held by a payment processor by borrowing from Tether's reserves, and is trying to obtain documents pertaining to the loan. The crypto exchange and stablecoin issuer, which share key executives and ownership, maintain that Tether's decision to extend a $900 million line of credit to Bitfinex was negotiated by independent teams of lawyers and is not reflective of a cover-up. On Monday, attorneys for Bitfinex and Tether argued that the NYAG's office did not have either personal jurisdiction, power over the companies themselves, or subject matter jurisdiction, power over the issues at hand. The NYAG's office in turn argued that there is sufficient jurisdiction to investigate whether any harm was done to New York residents. The 354 action is meant to assist and expedite our investigation. John Castiglione, Senior Enforcement Counsel with the NYAG's office on Monday. As deliberate as it gets. The NYAG's office filed in April to uncover more information about the loss, the alleged cover-up, and the line of credit that Tether opened. Cohen initially asked the parties to negotiate a narrower injunction before ruling that Bitfinex and Tether can resume normal operations, though prohibiting any more fund transfers from Tether to Bitfinex. Actually, I don't think the judge has any jurisdiction there either. The respondents filed to dismiss the NYAG's suit, claiming the Attorney General's office has no jurisdiction over the companies. The NYAG's office filed documents purporting to show that New York-based entities, including Michael Novogratz's Galaxy Digital, have used Bitfinex's services as recently as early 2019, and a report from the block claims a New York resident was able to recently open an account, a claim Bitfinex confirmed in a statement. Respondents signed up to do business with a virtual currency company in early 2019. That's as deliberate as it gets, Castiglione said in court. Bitfinex's attorneys contend that the New York entities are foreign-eligible contract participants, ECPs, entities which may have New York addresses but are not actually based in the Empire State. As such, New York regulators lack jurisdiction, they argue. Oh, dude, that to me is a perfectly reasonable suggestion. It does seem to me though that the bit license, I could swear I read something in there, that it relates to whether you're actually in New York when you're doing the transfers. Or you're doing transfers with somebody who is in New York. There's something to that effect. I could be wrong on that. But honestly, I think they ought to throw this particular case out. It's none of their fucking business how iFinex rather, because they're the parent company of both Bitfinex and Tether. It does not matter, or I mean, it's not really in their jurisdiction, I should say, to regulate over how iFinex switches around their money. Now, where they can show, where they ought to be pursuing this shit is, or if their sole target was seeing to the benefit of New Yorkers and crypto at large, they would go after Tether on its claims of having cash reserves, period. Because I contend that they don't. They don't have jack shit. They don't even have fractional reserve. They literally fat-fingered $5 billion into existence the other day. Of course, they deleted it, but not because they figured it out. Okay, it was because somebody posted it on Twitter and said, "Holy fucking shit! Where did that fucking money come from?" And then all of a sudden, Tether says, "Oh, oopsie. Yeah, we only meant to switch, 50 million over to the Ethereum version of our shit." And we fat fingered it and just we messed up on the decimal point. Meanwhile, it tanked the price of Bitcoin by about 12%. I mean, really, if you want to talk about like actual material losses incurred by the planet at large, or at least the United States, anybody who is doing business on the Bitcoin/USD pairing, or USDT rather pairing. Those people lost money, but I swear it's like they're completely blind. They're bringing up bullshit. The fact of the matter is New York really shouldn't even be going after this. Because they're saying basically, oh, you did business with the New Yorker, so you gotta fucking pay attention to our bullshit here in New York, even though you're in Hong Kong or Azerbaijan or Istanbul or wherever the fuck you are. That doesn't matter. You got to abide by our rules. Fuck you. Fuck you. And you know what? I really hope that INFOSEC continues to say fuck you to the NYAG's office, because if they wanted to go after them for actual criminal activity, there's plenty of evidence out there that they're potentially operating as criminals. Shit. Just look at the charts. You want evidence that they're sucking monetary value out of the crypto markets via stable coins? It's really fucking easy. Take a look at a chart for any cryptocurrency out there. You'll notice there's a period where everything is going up and down, up and down, up and down, up, and there's some lulls here and there, and then there's some up and down, up and down. But it's not like uniformly relatively flat or down. Which, if you look at the period from where Tether was first issued forward, you see this flattening occur. See, I don't think that's natural. I think they're doing little high-speed trading behind the scenes with fictional notes, these USDTs, and they're basically naked short selling Bitcoin. Where they come onto the market with, or an exchange rather, with a volume of Tether. They sell it for Bitcoin. They take the Bitcoin, they sell it at a loss at another exchange, and they don't really give a fuck that they're selling it at a loss because it was fucking free. They withdraw the dollars to the bank account. Oh my gosh, all of a sudden we have some backing for our Tether. How did that happen? Rinse and repeat. That's my contention. That's my contention of what stable coins are used for. And not just Tether, all stable coins. That they're basically snatching the quote-unquote volatility out of the exchange rate. They control the volume of these fictional notes that you and I don't have any potential of mining because they wave the magic wand and they create them just out of nowhere, just like the Federal Reserve does. I've also contended for a while now that INFOSEC is actually an appendage of the Federal Reserve System. That they're working for the Federal Reserve. And that's the only reason why the NYAG's office is going after bullshit when there is far more meat on the bone. Right now they're chewing on the bare end of it right now, trying to get some fucking marrow out of it. When if they just shifted their attention just a little bit to their left, they'd see the big old glob of meat hanging on the same fucking bone, but they're not chewing on that side of it. So yeah, I think this is it's just a bunch of bullshit. There's, in my opinion, and I'm not a legal expert or anything like that, but there's more stuff that, if anybody wanted to go after INFOSEC, it would probably have to be the feds. But there's far bigger games afoot than what's going on with whether or not they've had a customer or two in New York. I can guarantee that if they do have customers in New York, and they probably do, that they're using VPNs, and they have no idea that they're from New York. And neither does the NYAG's office. So it's all cool. Alright. Speaking of other stuff, I got this op-ed here, and I'm a little bit hesitant to get into it because I don't really believe there are experts in crypto still. I know we're year 10 and whatnot, but I don't believe there are experts here. I believe for there to be an expert, you would have to be a professional all the way around, and I just don't see it. I think there are some people that know a lot. There are some people that know more. But there's no quote-unquote experts. There's nobody that knows it all. And so I got this article here on financemagnates.com op-ed. Understanding crypto assets requires looking beyond price charts. And let's see, who is this? Doesn't actually tell us who authored this. It's kind of concerning. Anyway, continuing on. What moves the price of cryptocurrencies? That question puzzles crypto investors and traders on a regular basis. In an irrational and immature market such as crypto, there is no lack of absurd theories without any financial or technological rigor that constantly try to explain the price movement in different cryptocurrencies and tokens. Despite the data-rich nature of crypto assets that produces immutable records of every transaction in public ledgers, most financial analysis today are constrained by traditional price and volume indicators. Understanding crypto assets requires more in-depth analysis that expands beyond price charts and considers some of the unique characteristics of this new asset class. After all, if crypto is a new asset class with new fundamentals, shouldn't we be considering what those unique elements shouldn't we be considering those unique elements in its analysis? I couldn't agree more. A different asset class. The first step to enable more complete analysis of cryptocurrencies and digital tokens is to recognize them as a new asset class with a new set of fundamentals. Every asset class in the history of financial markets has introduced new factors relevant to its analysis. Commodities rely on supply and demand dynamics, and some of their behaviors are highly seasonal. Currencies trade 24/7, while options and futures are time-sensitive. Ignoring these key elements of the DNA of an asset class only results in overly simplistic models that fail to adapt to different market conditions. In the case of crypto assets, there are some unique characteristics that we haven't seen in previous asset classes and that highly influence the behavior of this new asset class. Here are some of the most prominent ones. Number 1, the ledger factor. The behavior of individual crypto asset investors is recorded in public decentralized ledgers which can be analyzed by anyone. This means that crypto assets enable analysis at a more granular level than other asset classes. Number 2, the network factor. Crypto assets operate in networks that enable the transfer of ownership and transactionality across its different parties. This means that the composition of the underlying network is incredibly relevant to the behavior of a crypto asset. Number 3, the dApp factor. Some crypto assets enable decentralized applications. This means that the behavior of a crypto asset can be influenced by the dApps that are using it. Number 4, the fork factor. Crypto networks can be forked. This means that a group can decide to clone a specific crypto network, causing a big impact for its investors. That's a really truncated explanation of what a fork is, dude. I mean, if you're going to give an analysis, I mean, it helps to know all the factors of a fork. You know, it could be as simple as the developers decide that they want to go one direction and the vast majority of the network decides it wants to go in another, and thus two new coins are born from that point forward, you know, where some of the miners will stick to one style and the others will take the new implementation in. And, you know, if it manages to succeed, if they manage to get enough hashing power to maintain the chain, they'll fork off. But of course, it has to be agreed to by enough people to actually maintain the fork. There have been a lot of forks that just died out. Initially they had enough hashing power to sustain the fork, and then for whatever reason, some people just dropped off, and it wasn't enough to sustain the fork, and that's it. Dunsky. Anyway, continuing on. These unique factors are highly relevant when it comes to analyzing the behavior of crypto assets. While many analysis techniques from other asset classes are applicable in crypto, most of them should be tailored to this new asset class and its unique characteristics. Why price and volume are not enough? If crypto assets are so different, why do we mostly rely on price and volume indicators to analyze their behaviors? One explanation is the crypto space is fairly new and that the analysis methodologies are just emerging. Another school of thought will argue that price and volume are only relevant factors to understand any asset class, including crypto. Techniques based on price and volume have proven to be effective in other asset classes, and some of them can be adapted to the crypto space. However, the context is drastically different. In most asset classes, price and volume are the only indicators of activity in a given asset. In the context of crypto assets, public blockchains provide a universe of data points that describe the activity of individual or groups of investors. Let's take the example of two scenarios in which the price of a crypto asset increases 5%, recording 100,000 transactions. So technically, price variation and volume is the same in both scenarios. However, in one case, the transactions come from existing addresses in the network, while in the other, the number of addresses increases by 30%. The second scenario indicates that new investors are coming into the network, who are likely to increase the buying activity in the near future. The previous example illustrates how blockchain datasets provide additional data signals that are relevant to analyze the behavior of crypto assets. Ignoring those data signals effectively ignores the elements that make crypto assets different from any other asset class. Crypto assets require a new form of analysis. Understanding and predicting the behavior of crypto assets requires indicators that are tailored to the unique characteristics of this new asset class. From that perspective, crypto assets require a new financial analysis methodology based on crypto-specific factors such as blockchain data sets as a first-class citizen. While exchange data fees capture the relevant trading life cycle of a crypto asset, blockchain data sets capture individual investor trends. Blockchain data is certainly a unique differentiator of crypto as an asset class. The fine granularity and richness of blockchain data sets make crypto the richest financial asset class in history, and one that is rapidly growing. Furthermore, the combination of blockchain, pricing, and off-chain datasets provides a complete perspective of a crypto asset across dimensions that are different from other asset classes. For instance, ownership indicators can provide signals about counterparty analysis, while network indicators can surface intelligence about the composition of the crypto network supporting the asset. Understanding the financial behavior of crypto assets will be one of the existential challenges of the next decade of cryptocurrency markets. While the specific factors and methodologies for analyzing crypto assets are still in a very nascent stage, one thing is for certain: crypto is a new asset class with different fundamentals that require a new form of financial analysis. And apparently this was authored by Jesus Rodriguez. So yes, penis. Basically this is kind of circular. He was saying this is a new asset class and it requires new analysis. Yeah, I get that. I mean, and that's true enough. However, this particular article lacked one key element. And this element is key to all cryptocurrencies. As a matter of fact, all currencies in general. And that's you. You have to be the one that decides, hey, I'm going to acquire some Bitcoin. I'm going to acquire some Litecoin. I'm going to acquire some Monero, some Verge, any one of a number of cryptocurrencies. There's a ton of them out there. But you're the one that makes the decision whether or not it's money, whether or not you value it as more than just a speculative item, whether you're willing to accept it as money in exchange for goods and services. You are the only arbiter that can do that. Anybody else doing it, and it's some form of coercion. So I think Jesus made a good attempt. He certainly kind of drew his argument. However, his argument is very, very sparse and not very well thought out. I mean, yes, it does require looking beyond the price charts. Yes. You do have to be looking at the network metrics. But the best way to do that is to become a part of the network. That's right. I know very few people talk about it out there, but you could take some deprecated hardware that you got sitting around doing absolutely nothing else and support a cryptocurrency with it and actually make a profit at it. You could be running a Dashwood or some shit like that on some deprecated piece of hardware, something that's not in active use for anything else with you right now. But that's how these things are supposed to run. It's not supposed to be some fucking government pointing at you and telling you how this shit operates. It's not supposed to be somebody like Jesus or even me, Frank. It's you. You're the one who decides whether or not you want to dedicate some electricity, some hardware, and some bandwidth to the venture of participating in a cryptocurrency network, a global cryptocurrency network, and put some money in your pocket at the same time. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw back down into some music. And I've been dying for some Metallica. I don't know. It's just been feeling it. And so here it is, Escape by Metallica, here on Coin Metal. And that was Sixth with Century of the Narcissist. Oh man. Checking back again here on the price, and it does appear that Bitcoin is still getting kicked in the dick at $9,400. Although I did hear about a significant amount of movement going on, and I'm assuming it was money coming in. So who's to say? Anyway, I got these couple articles here I dug up on CNBC. In this one, I kind of called already, where I don't expect Libra to actually ever launch. But I think they're going to claim that it's due to regulatory bullshit, but it's not. It's basically that they don't actually have a product. They're not actually working on a product at this point. And so yeah, anyway. This is on CNBC.com. Facebook warns investors that Libra digital currency may never see the light of day. Shocker. This is authored on July 29th, 2019 at 2:53 p.m. EDT. This is by Salvador Rodriguez. So yes, penis. Facebook reminded investors in its latest quarterly report that we're going to right-click on. Come on. There we go. While it expects to launch its Libra digital currency in 2020, a number of factors could keep that from happening. In the risk factors section of the report, Facebook said it recognizes the significance of the pushback that's come from lawmakers and regulators since the project was announced in June. Quote, Libra has drawn significant scrutiny from governments and regulators in multiple jurisdictions, and we expect that scrutiny to continue, Facebook said in its filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission. In addition, market acceptance of such currency is subject to significant uncertainty. As such, there can be no assurance that Libra or associated products and services will be made available in a timely manner or at all. We do not have significant prior experience with digital currency or blockchain technology, which may adversely affect our ability to successfully develop and market these products and services. Oh my God! Jesus Christ! Dude, just fucking launch a coin for Christ's sake. Copy the fucking source code for Bitcoin, put the tag Libra on it, put the cash tag or the abbreviation for Libra everywhere that it needs to be in the wallet, and call it good. Launch the fucking thing for Christ's sake. David Marcus, who is spearheading the development of Libra and the Calibra digital wallet project at Facebook, has said that the currency will be more, quote, a more efficient, low-cost, and secure alternative payment tool for people who can't afford to transfer money using traditional methods. Since disclosing plans for Libra and Calibra last month, the company has faced criticism from public officials in the U.S. and abroad. Earlier this month, Marcus testified before the U.S. Banking Senate Committee and the House Financial Services Committee and was grilled by lawmakers during both sessions. U.S. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin and the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell have also voiced their concerns with Libra, and other reservations have been raised by French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire and European Central Bank Executive Board member Benoit Courier. I have no idea how to pronounce that. My apologies. In a statement to CNBC on Monday, a Facebook spokesperson said that between now and the product's launch, the company will be working openly with all of the concerned parties. Quote, we know that the journey to launching Libra will be a long one, and that we cannot do this alone, the spokeswoman wrote. Engaging with regulators, policymakers, and experts is critical to Libra's success. This was the whole reason Facebook, along with other members of the Libra Association, shared our plans early. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg made similar comments on a call with analysts on Wednesday. A few years ago, the company, quote, would have probably just showed up and tried to release a product on our own, he said. Quote, now the approach on all of these fronts is to outline the ideas and the values that we think an eventual service should have, leave open a period however long it takes to address regulators and different experts and constituents' questions about this, and then figure out the best way to move forward is, Zuckerberg said. And that was it. Yeah, I think Zuckerberg's approach is wrong. You launch first, you wait for criticism and evaluation, and then you go forward. See, all you're going to get right now is a whole bunch of bullshit until you actually have a product and you're trying to provide your good or your service with it. That's how you find this shit out. You know, you can't figure out how to swim without getting into the water. Okay? And that's how cryptocurrencies are. That's how Facebook coins should be. The whole way that they're going about this, It's wonderful if you're trying to go according to a framework that works for everybody around you in Silicon Valley. But here's the problem, Facebook and Zuckerberg. You're not just dealing with those motherfuckers in that boardroom. It's not just going to be their money, right? Right. So their opinion is minimal. Your Libra Association participants, their ideas are minimal too. Okay, they can have their base values and their base expectations, and if they want to get on board with you because of those, that's fine. But you have to understand, you are in a market that is rife with coins. It's not going to ever be just you in charge of transacting everybody's monetary value. But what is incumbent upon any cryptocurrency project is to try and do it the best. It's not enough to make a bunch of statements about what your product or your coin is supposed to do, how it's supposed to operate, how it's supposed to be governed. No. Not all of that is bullshit. What matters is when I read your fucking white paper and then I look at the function of your coin, if your coin is matching what the white paper describes, that gives me a good basis for whether or not I want to use it as a means of determining if I'm going to invest or transact in your coin. But the other aspects of Facebook coin that I feel are errant is that they have absolutely no faith in the public at large or the market at large, which is you. They're 2.4 billion fucking Facebook users. I just want to erase all of their participation in the whole mining and all. I just want to erase all of that. You got all these people out there. They've got your fucking website open on their browser. They could be mining willingly and knowingly for you, but no. We got to have an association built of bankers and other experts, and they're going to determine the path for Libra coin. And that's the way we're going to do things. Now, you're going to lose to that group of interns that got together in the lunchroom and said, you know what? I know how to code, man. You know how to code, right? You know how to do that fucking UI stuff, right? Okay, so tell you what, we'll get somebody in database development or blockchain development or whatever. We'll bring them in, and we'll create our own cryptocurrency. And fuck all these people. We'll take the free snacks out of the lunchroom and shit for however long we need to launch our project. Then we're going to set up a Twitter account, a Facebook account, a fucking IRC channel, a website. And we're going to host our own code, and we're going to allow people, and of course we'll upload it up to GitHub and all that business. And we will try and create our own little community. And before long, those motherfuckers are going to be eating your lunch too. That's how Bitcoin got started. That's how all of the really successful cryptocurrency projects got started. A bunch of motherfuckers got together and said, you know what? I think we can do something better. And the only reason they exist right now is because whether they do or right now or not, at one point they actually did it better. I would argue that Bitcoin is still better than a lot of legacy payment systems, but there are currencies I believe that are just as good, if not better, than Bitcoin because they allow for quicker transactions. And there's all these people that tell you that the big thing about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is the underlying technology. A bunch of bullshit. The blockchain is just the bullshit. Okay, you need the bull. You don't have the bull, you don't have something to participate and create the bullshit, then you don't get the bullshit. Right? But it is bullshit. It's all the shit that actually got processed by the bull. And it's really cool. You can use it for a lot of things. But really what it's used for, what its intended use for was for is to assess whose coins are whose. the transactions exchange ownership of the coins. The coins exist. They're created every 10 minutes on average, that is. But whose are they? Do they still belong to the miner, or has he done a transaction and exchanged the ownership of them with somebody else? That's what the blockchain keeps track of. Make sure the transactions themselves are valid and include them in the blocks. That's what is supposed to be going on. Now, whether or not that's actually going on, that could be argued, but that's beside the point. But that's what a blockchain is, or what it's supposed to do is. But that's all it's really meant for. And you can do all kinds of things. You can exchange all kinds of things and have that transaction in a blockchain as a record of the transaction. And should it ever come to some sort of court action or whatever, you can prove that, this transaction, this was done at 2:54 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and the value was exchanged here, and I was the recipient of the value. Here it is. In a court of law, that you could use it to assess exactly whose shit it is. And there are plenty of applications where this would be fucking critical. Things like land sales. Who owns what, right? Well, if the land title is on a blockchain, it's yours until you exchange it with somebody else. And not only does it indicate that it's yours, it also indicates to the rest of the planet when that changes hands. And that's keenly important. There's all kinds of disputes going on right now about who owns what, because the paperwork was caught up, and there's 5 billion departments they had to report to, and they didn't report on time, and the reporting information was not sufficient, and so the exchange didn't happen, and they failed to report that at one point, and so on and so forth. That hangs up the exchange of land titles. However, if you can nail that down to show me your public address, scan, enter, send, bam, transaction is done. And not only is it done between me and you, the entire fucking planet can see that it was done. If they were depending on that transaction happening, they could look at it and say, oh, fucking transaction happened. We can get on with our business now. We have the value. And you can also limit, especially so, you can limit the parties that are actually interested in looking at it. Maybe you use Verge or other privacy token, and only a limited number of people know whose is what. So maybe you give them your public address before the transaction is supposed to happen. They're in a boardroom. They're saying, okay, we're waiting. The transaction should be happening between this period and this period. And so we'll just keep an eye on the blockchain for transactions happening with this, associated with this address. And as soon as it happens, we'll know that the transaction is final, and we'll be able to get on with our business, and you can go ahead and give us the collateral to do further business, or whatever is going on as far as your business is concerned. The transaction can be confirmed globally within a very, very short period of time. I think with Verge it's 30 seconds. But that's something that we've never had before. And again, you don't need a bank or a state to be the one telling you this. You don't need a bank to tell you, okay, yeah, we've received the funds. No. Scan, enter, send. That cuts so much shit out of our finances. And I think that's one of the saddest things about crypto, is it seems that so few people actually understand that about this. And I wish more people would listen to the show. Then they would hear me say it, and they would go, oh yeah, by the way, I am the one that determines all this shit. I am the market participant. I am the market. Anyway, I'm kind of needing a little bit of caffeine before we get back into it, so I'm going to throw down a little bit more music. But you'll notice that I have gotten a little bit shorter on the music breaks. I think that's important. Anyway, let's go ahead and throw down with a little bit of Probot. This is like a side project by David Grohl from Foo Fighters and Nirvana fame. So here it is, Centuries of Sin, here on Coin Metal. If it'll play, if I didn't just like seize the program. Come on, motherfucker, play it. There we go. Alright. And that was Dope with Survive. And I did a little scrounging around and I found some additional stuff. Let's see here. Got this thing for Calibra, which we may follow up, although I don't know. Ooh. Yeah, this one was kind of a off of center kind of thing for us, but I think it's pertinent, so we should follow it up. So here it is on CNBC.com. Capital One data breach exposes tens of thousands of social security numbers linked to bank accounts. This is published approximately 5 hours ago, updated 8 minutes ago by Saheli Roy Chowdhury. So no penis. Continuing on. Capital One said Monday that a data breach identified earlier this month. What the month? What? Exposed personal information of its customers, including social security details and bank account numbers. The Virginia headquartered bank said in news release that about 140,000 social security numbers of its credit card customers and around 80,000 linked bank account numbers and 1 million Canadian social insurance numbers were compromised. Additional information, including names, addresses, phone numbers, credit scores, and credit limits, were also exposed. In total, Capital One said, quote, this event affected approximately 100 million individuals in the United States and approximately 6 million in Canada. Jesus Christ. Still, no credit card numbers or login credentials were exposed, and over 99% of Social Security numbers were not affected, according to the bank, which said the unauthorized access occurred on March 22nd and 23rd of this year. The FBI arrested a suspect, Paige A. Thompson, who was charged with computer fraud and abuse, according to court records. Authorities said Thompson used the alias Erratic in online communications and was investigated for, quote, exfiltrating and stealing information, including credit card applications and other documents from Capital One. The criminal complaint alleged that Thompson posted the stolen data online and on information sharing site GitHub and made statements on social media, quote, evidencing the fact that she has information on Capital One and that she recognizes that she has acted illegally. Thompson made her initial appearance in U.S. District Court in Seattle on Monday and was ordered detained pending a hearing on August 1st, 2019, the DOJ said. Quote, while I am grateful that the perpetrator has been caught, I am deeply sorry for what has happened, Richard D. Fairbank, chairman and CEO of Capital One, said in the release. Quote, I sincerely apologize for the understandable worry this incident must be causing those affected, and I'm committed to making it right. The bank estimates that the hack will cost the company approximately $100 million to $150 in 2019. So yeah, proving yet again that the best way to keep your information from being compromised is to not store it. If you don't store it, it can't be compromised. Very simple, right? But no, we got to keep track of everything so we can monetize your data. And if we can't monetize your data, what fucking good is it, right? I don't know. I'm kind of saddened that such a large organization, such as Capital One, should have this kind of data breach. I mean, come on. It's not like it's a new idea that somebody is trying to compromise your shit to get your money and your information. You know, I think again this is the result of a lack of focus in legislation regarding the collection and dissemination of personal information of your customers required by federal and state entities. They say collect the shit. They do not say secure it like the fucking Fort Knox. You know, as a matter of fact, I'm sure in some sort of memo or whatever they're receiving says, oh, you know, make sure you save it all in plain text in non-encrypted forms and formats so that we can just exfiltrate it as we choose, as we see fit. You know, that's the kind of shit that worries me, okay? It's like, you know, they're going after fucking people that are trading on local bitcoins, right? But no, they fucking ignore this kind of fuck up. This exposed the fucking information of 100 million Americans. That's like 1 out of 5 fucking Americans. And I don't see this all over CNN. I should. It probably impacts everybody working at CNN. But no, it's more important to report on the Mueller report or some bullshit. I can't believe this, man. I mean, it's like, this is not a small organization. And they got exfiltrated by somebody willing to post their personal information on fucking GitHub. I mean, come on now. I'm kind of impressed that they managed to identify her by that. I know that there are certain things you can do to make it a lot harder to associate your physical person, your physical address, and any of that other information with your GitHub address. You know, it takes just a little bit of effort. But, you know, if you're not mindful to thinking that way and more interested in just compromising the information, I gotta wonder what her actual motivation was. You know, was she targeting one individual's information, or was she just showing this, hey, to, you know, jerk you off and say, hey, look at what I did? Or, you know, I don't know. There's no link to that information. Oh, let's see here. Or obtained hearing. Let's look it up. I mean, like, was she like chasing a boyfriend or some shit, or like going ultra dark with that, or what? A Seattle tech worker arrested for data theft involving large financial services company. Oh, and this is on justice.gov. It's a U.S. Attorney's Office, Western District of Washington. Monday, July 29th, 2019, Seattle tech worker arrested for data theft involving large financial services company. Used knowledge of servers and cloud storage to steal data from millions of credit applications. A former Seattle technology company software engineer was arrested today on a criminal complaint charged computer fraud and abuse for an intrusion on the stored data of Capital One Financial Corporation, announced U.S. Attorney Brian T. Moran. Paige A. Thompson, a.k.a. Erratic, 33, made her initial appearance in U.S. District Court in Seattle today and was ordered detained pending a hearing on August 1st, 2019. According to the criminal complaint, Thompson posted on the information sharing site GitHub about her theft of information from the servers storing Capital One data. The intrusion occurred through a misconfigured web application firewall that enabled access to the data. On July 17, 2019, a GitHub user who saw the post alerted Capital One to the possibility it had suffered a data theft. after determining on July 19, 2019 that there had been an intrusion into its data. Capital One contacted the FBI. Oh my God. Cyber investigators were able to identify Thompson as the person who was posting about the data theft. This morning, agents executed a search warrant on Thompson's residence and seized electronic storage devices containing a copy of the data. Quote, Capital One quickly alerted law enforcement to the data theft, allowing the FBI to trace the intrusion, said U.S. Attorney Moran. Quote, I commend our law enforcement partners who are doing all they can to determine the status of the data and secure it. Computer fraud and abuse is punishable by up to 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. These charges contained in the complaint are only allegations. This person is presumed innocent until he or she is proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. This case is being investigated by the FBI. The case is being prosecuted by the Assistant U.S. Attorneys Stephen Masada and Andrew Friedman. Okay. So, let's see here. I want to make sure this is something different. Okay. I've got it here. It's about 12 pages. We may or may not be able to complete this, but I want to dive into the complaint here because I'm not convinced that Paige A. Thompson, aka Erratic, had intended to do such a hack. It might actually, because again, it does say that it's an allegation. Okay, so that indicates to me at least this is not something 100% settled, and so the scope of it, I'm not sure is actually something that actually impacted 100 million Americans. Although I must say that given the description so far of the attack, I can't say that it was something incredibly impressive. I mean, she didn't have like MIT computers handling it or something. I don't know. Anyway, continuing on this, this is the actual complaint. United States District Court for the Western District of Washington at Seattle, United States of America plaintiff versus Paige A. Thompson, Erratic. Case number MJ19-0344. Complaint for violation of 18 U.S.C. Weird Squiggly Thing 1030A2. Or Section A, Subsection 2. Yeah. Before the Honorable Mary Alice Thieler, United States Magistrate Judge, United States Courthouse, 700 Stewart Street, Seattle, Washington. Count 1. Computer fraud and abuse. Between on or about March 12, 2019 and on or about July 17, 2019 at Seattle, within the Western District of Washington and elsewhere, Paige A. Thompson intentionally accessed a computer without authorization, to wit, a computer containing information belonging to Capital One Financial Corporation, and thereby obtained information contained in a financial record of a financial institution and of a card issuer, as defined in Section 1602 of Title 15, and information from a protected computer, and the value of the information obtained exceeded $5,000. All in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 1030, subsection A, 2A, and C, and C, 2A, and B, 3. The undersigned complainant, being duly sworn, states, I, Joel Martini, am a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, currently assigned to the Seattle field office, and have been so employed since January 2017. I am assigned to the Cyber Squad, where I investigate computer intrusions and other cyber crimes. Prior to my employment as a special agent, I worked as a computer forensic examiner for the FBI for approximately 5 years. The facts set forth in this complaint are based on my personal knowledge, information I have received from others during the course of my investigation, and my review of relevant documents. Number 2. I am the case agent responsible for an investigation of Paige A. Thompson, also known by the alias Erratic, for intruding into servers rented or contracted by a financial services company and issuer of credit cards, namely Capital One Financial Corporation, Capital One, from a company that provides cloud computing services, the Cloud Computing Company, and for exfiltrating and stealing information, including credit card applications and other documents, from Capital One. Summary of the investigation. Number 3. The FBI is conducting an investigation into a network intrusion into servers rented or contracted by Capital One. Capital One is a financial services company that, among other things, issues credit cards. Number 4. Evidence linking Paige A. Thompson to the intrusion includes the fact that information obtained from the intrusion has been posted on a GitHub page that includes Paige A. Thompson's full name as part of its digital address, and that it's linked to other pages that belong to Paige A. Thompson and contain her resume. And not very good OffSec. In addition, records obtained from Capital One indicate that Internet Protocol addresses used by the intruder are controlled by a company that provides virtual private network services and that was used by Paige A. Thompson to make postings on the Internet service GitHub, including very close in time to intrusions. Moreover, Paige A. Thompson also has made statements on social media for evidencing the fact that she has information of Capital One that she recognizes that she has acted illegally. Section 2, Terms and Definitions. Number 5. For the purposes of this affidavit, I use following terms as described below. A server is a computer that provides services for other computers connected to it via a network or the Internet. The computers that use these server services are sometimes called clients. Servers can be physically located anywhere with a network connection that may be reached by the clients. For example, it is not uncommon for a server to be located hundreds or even thousands of miles away from client computers. A server may be either a physical or virtual machine. A physical server is a piece of computer hardware configured as a server with its own power source, central processing unit or units, and associated software. A virtual server typically is one of many servers that operate on a single physical server. Each virtual server shares the hardware resources of the physical server, but the data residing on each virtual server is segregated from the data on other virtual servers on the same physical machine. B. An Internet Protocol address, an IP address, is a unique numeric address used by devices such as computers on the Internet. Every device attached to the Internet is assigned an IP address so that Internet traffic sent from and directed to that device may be directed properly from its source to its destination. Most Internet service providers control a range of IP addresses. Generally, a static IP address is permanently assigned to a specific location or device, while a dynamic IP address is temporary and periodically changes. C. The Onion Router, or Tor, is an anonymity tool used by individuals to conceal their identities, including the origin of their internet connection, that is, their IP address. Tor bounces communications through several intermediate computers, relays, each of which utilizes encryption, thus anonymizing the IP address of the computer or of the individual using Tor. D. A virtual private network, a VPN, is a secure connection over a less secure network, such as the Internet. A VPN uses shared public infrastructure but maintains privacy through security procedures and tunneling protocols. It encrypts data and at the sending end, decrypts it at the receiving end, and sends the data through a, quote, tunnel that cannot be entered by data that is not properly encrypted. A VPN may encrypt the originating and receiving network addresses. Number 6. Through this affidavit, I also refer to a number of companies and to services that they offer. A. GitHub is a company that provides web hosting and allows users to manage and store revisions of projects. Although used mostly for software development projects, GitHub also allows users to manage other types of files. B. iPredator is a company that offers prepaid VPN service to customers using servers based in Sweden. C. Meetup is an internet-based platform designed to let people find and build local communities called, quote, groups. D. Slack is a cloud-based set of team collaboration software tools and online services. Slack allows users to establish, quote, channels in which a team can share messages, tools, and files. E. Twitter is a company that operates a social networking site that allows users to establish accounts, post short messages, and receive other users' messages. 3. The investigation, or Section 3, the investigation. A. The intrusion and exfiltration. Capital One is a bank holding company that specializes in credit cards, but that also offers other credit, including automobile loans, as well as a variety of bank accounts. Capital One offers credit cards and other services to customers throughout the United States. Capital One supports its services in part by renting or contracting for computer services provided by the cloud computing company. The servers on which Capital One stores credit card application and other information generally are located in states other than the state of Washington and store information regarding customers and support services in multiple states. Deposits of Capital One are insured by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. Based on these facts, Capital One is a financial institution and a card issuer, and the computers on which it stores credit card applications are protected computers, as those terms are defined in 18 U.S.C. 1030C. Number 8. Capital One maintains an email address through which it solicits disclosures of actual or potential vulnerabilities in its computer systems, so that Capital One can learn of and attempt to avert breaches of its systems. Among others who send emails to this address are individuals who sometimes are called ethical or white hat hackers. Number 9. On July 17, 2019, an individual who previously was unknown to Capital One emailed this address. Hello there appears to be some leaked S3 data of yours in someone's GitHub/GST. Let me know if you want help tracking them down. Yeah, okay. The individual's email stated that there appeared to be leaked data belonging to Capital One on GitHub and provided the address of the GitHub file containing this leaked data. The address provided for this file was https blah blah blah. Throughout this affidavit, I will use 5 stars to substitute for other characters, sometimes fewer, but often more than 5 characters. Significantly, one of the terms in this address was what I know from the Department of Licensing records to be Paige A. Thompson's full first, middle, and last name. Number 10. After investigating this information, Capital One examined the GitHub file, which was timestamped April 21st, 2019, the April 21 file. Capital One determined that the April 21 file contained the IP address for a specific server. A firewall misconfiguration permitted commands to reach and be executed by that server, which enabled access to folders or buckets of data in Capital One's storage space at the cloud computing company. 11. Capital One determined that the April 21 file contained code for 3 commands as well as a list of more than 700 folders or buckets of data. Capital One determined that the first command, when executed, obtained security credentials for an account known as WAF role, WAF-role, that in turn enabled access to certain of Capital One's folders at the cloud computing company. Capital One determined that the second command, the quote, list buckets command, when executed, used the WAF-role account to list the names of folders or buckets of data in Capital One's storage space at the cloud computing company. Capital One determined that the third command, the sync command, when executed, used the WAF-role to extract or copy data from those folders or buckets in Capital One's storage space for which the WAF-role account had the requisite permissions. Number 12. Capital One tested the commands in the April 21 file and confirmed that the commands did in fact function to obtain Capital One's credentials to list or enumerate folders or buckets of data and to extract data from certain of those folders or buckets. Capital One confirmed that the more than 700 folders or buckets of data listed in the April 21 file matched the actual names of folders or buckets of data used by Capital One for data stored at the cloud computing company. Capital One reported that its computer logs reflect the fact that the list buckets command was in fact executed on April 21, 2019, and that the timestamp in Capital One's logs matches the timestamp in the April 21 file. Number 13. According to Capital One, its logs show that a number of connections or attempted connections to Capital One's server from Tor exit nodes and a number of connections from IP addresses beginning with 46.246, all of which Capital One believes relate to activity conducted by the same person involved in the April 21, 2019 intrusion because they involve similar unusual communications through the misconfigured firewall to the server disclosed above. Specifically, according to Capital One, the logs show that on or about March 12, 2019, IP address 46.246.35.99 attempted to access Capital One's data. I know from checking publicly available records that this IP address is controlled by iPredator, a company that provides VPN services. On or about March 22, 2019, the WAF-role account was used to execute the list buckets command several times. These commands were executed from IP addresses that I believe to be Tor exit nodes. According to Capital One, the WAF-role account does not, in ordinary course of business, invoke the list bucket commands. Also, on or about March 22, 2019, the WAF-role account was used to execute the sync command a number of times to obtain data for certain of Capital One's data folders or buckets, including files that contain credit card application data. A number of those commands were executed from IP address 46.246.38.224. I know from checking publicly available records that IP address is also controlled by iPredator. One of the files copied from Capital One's folders or buckets on March 22, 2019 was a file with the name C000.snappy.parquet, the Snappy Parquet file. And this was the only time the WAF-roll account accessed Snappy Perquet file between January 1st, 2019 and July 20th, 2019. A list buckets command was executed on April 21st, 2019 from IP address 46.246.35.103. I know from checking publicly available records that the IP address from which this command was executed also is controlled by iPredator. I also believe, based on the timestamp on the April 21st, 2019 file and the time that Capital One reports that the command appears in Capital One's logs, that this was the command that was the source of the April 21 file. According to Capital One, the data copied from Capital One's data folders or buckets includes primarily data related to credit card applications. Although some of the information in those applications, such as social security numbers, has been tokenized or encrypted, other information including applicants' names, addresses, dates of birth, and information regarding their credit history has not been tokenized. In other words, it's unencrypted. According to Capital One, the data includes data regarding large number of applicants, likely tens of millions of applicants. According to Capital One, the data includes approximately 120,000 Social Security numbers and approximately 77,000 bank account numbers. Evidence of Paige A. Thompson's involvement. 15. As noted above, the GitHub address where the April 21 file was posted includes Paige A. Thompson's full name, including clicking on the name Paige A. Thompson in the address takes the user to the main GitHub page for a Paige A. Thompson. The profile on that page contains a link to a GitHub page at www.gitlab.com/net something. The page includes, among other things, a resume for Paige Thompson. That resume indicates that Paige Thompson is a systems engineer and formerly worked at the cloud computing company from 2015 to 2016. Based on this evidence, I believe that Paige A. Thompson is the user of the GitHub and GitLab accounts described herein. Number 16. On April 19, 2019, posted in the GitHub account of Paige A. Thompson includes a server list of IP addresses associated with the account. All of the IP addresses in the server list begin with 46.246. I have confirmed by checking publicly available records that each of the IP addresses in the server list is controlled by iPredator, the same VPN provider that controls multiple IP addresses from which Capital One reports malicious activity in this case, including malicious activity on April 19, 2019. Number 17. Based on open source research, I am aware of a particular meetup group used by Paige A. Thompson. The meetup page for this group indicates that its organizer is Paige Thompson, Erratic. Notably, the alias Erratic matches the username of a Twitter account discussed below associated with Paige A. Thompson. Within that meetup group is a Slack invitation code for the Slack channel, netslack.com, blah, blah, blah. Number 18, I've reviewed postings at the net blah 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 Slack channel. Among other things, on or about June 26, 2019, a user, Erratic, posted a list of files that Erratic claimed to possess. Among those files, two referenced WAF-roll. Based on my review of the sync command in the April 21st file and my training and experience, I know that the sync command would place extracted files in a directory with the name WAF-roll. Accordingly, I believe that Erratic was claiming to have files extracted using the extraction command set forth in the April 21 file. Number 19. On or about June 27th, 2019, Erratic posted about several companies, government entities, and educational institutions. Among these posts, Erratic referred to WAF-Webrol, and indicated that the account was associated with Capital One. Based on my training and experience, these communications appear to be references by Erratic to other intrusions that Erratic may have committed. 20. On or about June 27, 2019, another user posted, quote, "Don't go to jail, please," in response to Erratic posted, I'm Ike, greater than iPredator, greater than Tor, greater than S3 on all this shit. Sketchy shit, please don't go to jail, or don't go to jail, please. Erratic says, blah, I am greater than Predator, blah, 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 on all this shit. I want to get it off my server, that's why I'm archiving all of it. It's all encrypted. I just don't want it around, though. I gotta find somewhere to store it. That info block CTO is interesting. They have greater than 500 Docker containers. I understand this to refer to the method Paige A. Thompson used to commit the intrusion. Erratic also posted, quote, "I want to get this off my server, that's why I'm archiving all of it, LOL." 21. According to a screenshot that Capital One provided and that I have reviewed, on or about June 27, 2019, the user page something posted, quote, "I've also got a leak-proof iPredator router setup if anyone needs it," as well as a GitHub link that includes Paige A. Thompson in the link. I was not able to locate this post on GitHub myself, although that may be because it has since been deleted. Number 22, according to a screenshot that Capital One provided and that I have reviewed, on or about July 4th, 2019, the user Paige A. something posted a message seeking information about the Snappy Parquet file, one of the files exfiltrated from Capital One on March 22nd, 2019. Number 23, on or about July 19th, 2019, user Paige A. something posted information about one of her pets. Included in the post was an estimate from a veterinarian dated on June 10th, 2019, provided to Paige A. Thompson at the same address listed on the Paige Thompson resume described above. Based upon the information in the preceding paragraphs, I believe that Paige A. Thompson is the person who posted under the names Erratic and Paige A. something on the Net Something Slack channel. Number 24. I have learned from Capital One and through open source research of a Twitter account named something that I'm not going to read out with the username Erratic. I have reviewed photographs posted to the account of Erratic, and they appear to depict the same individual who appears in the photographs posted on the Net Slack channel under the username Paige A. Based on the information in the preceding paragraphs, I believe that Paige A. Thompson is the user of the Erratic Twitter account. According to a screenshot that Capital One provided on June 18th, 2019, Twitter user Erratic sent a direct message to the reporting service. Quote, "I basically strapped myself with a bomb vest, fucking dropping Capital One's docs and admitting it. I want to distribute those buckets, I think, first." I wonder if she was successful. I understand this post to indicate, among other things, that Paige A. Thompson intended to disseminate data stolen from victim entities, starting with Capital One. The search of Paige A. Thompson's residence on July 26, 2019, I obtained a search warrant to search Paige A. Thompson's residence for evidence in this case. On July 29, 2019, other FBI special agents and I executed that search warrant. 5 individuals, including Paige A. Thompson, were present at the residence. Oh, your case just got blown, dude. Number 27. A search of a bedroom I believe belonged to Paige A. Thompson resulted in the seizure of numerous digital devices. During the initial search of some of these devices, agents observed files and items that referenced Capital One and the cloud computing company, other entities that may have been targets of attempted or actual network intrusions, and erratic, the alias associated with Paige A. Thompson. Based on the foregoing, I submit that probable cause exists to believe that Paige A. Thompson has committed a violation of Title 18 U.S. Code, Section 1030A2. Based on the complaint and affidavit sworn before me, subscribed in my presence, I hereby find that there is probable cause to believe the defendant committed the offense set forth in the complaint. I'm just going to say it right now, dude. It's way too sloppy. For the level of sophistication of this attack, it's way too sloppy to post it all on a fucking Slack account that's associated with your fucking personal identification, or on a GitHub account that's associated with your personal identification, and to fucking link it via your fucking username via to other accounts that you have. That's very, very sloppy OPSEC. I would be willing to bet that, in fact, either A, one of the other 4 individuals that were present when you fucking barged in, or any number of their associates who may in fact be the owners of the digital devices you found, may be using Paige A, or what's her face, maybe using her as a cover, as a patsy, and is in fact the actual intruder. Anybody sophisticated enough to actually dream this fucking hack up is not going to have that poor of OPSEC. You're probably holding a fucking patsy in your fucking holding cell. That's my assessment of it. And it is with that I like to close out this episode. Thank you very much for listening. I certainly do appreciate the support. We will be back again on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And so until then, I want you all to trade safe, do your homework, and watch out for your own bunghole, because nobody else is going to do it for you. Somebody else is probably going to use it as cover for their own crimes. You never know. Thank you very much for listening again, and you all have an excellent evening. And as far as our last dance is concerned, I'm going to go ahead and throw this one down. Crowbar, like broken glass, last dance, here on Coin Metal. Thank you again for listening, and you all have an excellent evening. Good night.